Well, good morning. It is March 21st, 2025, and I think it's the second day of spring. Not so much here in Michigan. It's back into the 20s again, 30s today this morning. Um, Usually we have this sort of fall spring in the Midwest, and so when we have that, it's like we get these days of 60s and 70s, and then all of a sudden we're back to 40s next day. So I know like Nebraska and Iowa and some of those states are considered to be in the Midwest, but I think they're getting hit with all kinds of snow. So I guess we'll take it. We don't have feet and inches of snow. We have just cold weather, so we'll take that. Just getting on here, just kind of a test today. I just wanted to see what this was going to be all about. If we did a stream, how we'd set it up with Patreon, how we'd set it up through YouTube. And the main goal here is just to maybe you guys can kind of help me out a little bit as we're talking a little bit. In about a half an hour, I'm going to be talking with my therapist support group regarding imposter syndrome, which is a pretty big topic around there. Again, kind of a plug for that group. If anybody's a therapist, psychologist, counselor, life coach, whoever you might be, if you're interested in working with a group of people who are really great group of people to support you with, right? We started out with like 3 people in the group. Now we're up to like 6 or 7. David Frobish is the leader. Great group to be part of. Highly encourage you guys to check it out. If you'd like to know more information, email me and we'll sort of set you up with that so you can get involved. So we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome in that group today. So, for those of you guys who don't know what imposter syndrome is, there's no scientific term for it. I guess I would say therapists tend to sort of be the ones that talk about probably the most, but I would say I see it on LinkedIn all the time. CEOs and other people who experience the same phenomena. And really the phenomena is essentially that, we're all not feeling like we're qualified for our roles, our jobs. Certainly I think as a parent, right, that's probably a big one. We're not really qualified to be a parent. We're not qualified to be a spouse. We're not qualified to be an employee. We're not qualified to be a CEO. Sort of a human element, it seems like, to some degree. But Dave is very passionate about the idea of working through and understanding your imposter syndrome, making sense of it. And, at least in my experience, I've had a couple different moments of those I could definitely think of in my career. Certainly one of those times was when I was working with kids about almost 10 years ago now. No background working with kids, don't really have personality work with kids. And I just, really struggled. I was thinking all the time, like, why did I get involved with this job? Why did I take these cases? I think I learned a lot, though, in those moments with imposter syndrome, at least in that case, because it was one of those things where, I certainly think for me, I learned a lot about the fact that there's not always this comfort of, you got this, you know what you're doing. It seems like we're always looking for that as humans. We're always wanting to be able to kind of have it all put together. We want to have the direction of the solidarity of knowing, hey, this is going to work out. Maybe the assurity is probably a better word. But I know for me, some of my greatest opportunities I've learned from have been ones where I didn't know. And it comes to my second example I was thinking about was really the one that, I think has been more present in my life recently has been the last 4 years when I was working with sex addiction. Learning addiction program, following what my employer wanted me to do, following what the program wanted me to do. But then also having my own convictions about, sort of my own life and where I was and what I was struggling with. So I definitely think there's certainly an aspect of that where, it's hard because, we're all human and there's pieces of us that want to have the surety that we're going to do well. I know for me, it was always about, in some ways my job performance, I wanted to be really good at what I was doing. Didn't want to lose my job, certainly that aspect. But I do also think there was a piece of it where it was a lot about trying to learn how to be okay with not knowing and sort of being on top of that to some degree. So those are kind of a couple examples I could think of, and I'm probably going to share that with the group a little bit today about just about some of those things I've experienced with imposter syndrome. I think, as we're talking here, it's a couple things to consider, as we're looking forward to what what I have ahead here. My hope is to do these live streams more frequently. certainly the idea that, as I'm building my business, it's becoming very imperative to me that, there has to be more things involved with my Patreon channel, and I have to be more actively involved on here, making videos, making content, those kind of things. Certainly this idea of, this camera angle and some of the kind of things like that. I'm not going to apologize. I'm not an editor by any means. And so, if you find these videos useful, find them helpful, that's the goal. There's really this is not an entertainment per se space. This is, if somebody wants to volunteer their expertise in editing these things, more than happy to let you guys do that. If not, then this is as good as it's going to get to some degree, at least until I'm able to make my $6 million a year type of thing, or whatever the case is, whatever that number is going to be. I can afford to put that forward. So, but I don't expect to this is kind of the way I'd like it to be, and I want to try to create a studio setting. So you guys have an opportunity to be able to learn here and support one another and grow. That's really the idea of this whole project. It's something that I think, we're all learning what content works for people. Things are changing in the world and the society and in the internet and those kind of things. And so we're trying to all learn how to make this work for ourselves. So please be patient as you can, and hopefully you take away some things from the content that I've posted. Also want to just say that, I think that, there's certainly a lot of things out there that have sort of moved us into a different era. Obviously there's some things that are going on in our society right now of just a lot unknown. Maybe there's some imposter syndrome you guys are experiencing, just being able to navigate your own life. And so if you're experiencing that, or you have some comments or thoughts on it, leave a message in the chat, send us an email, jump on the Bloomworks community site on our community chat on Patreon. Love to hear your experience about it too. So hope you all have a good rest of the day. Thanks for taking some time here, and until next time.